My dear friends, have you ever noticed that no matter how much love you give, how much effort you put in, people still come and go, yet the only person who never leaves you is you? So the question is not, why did they leave? The real question is, why did I stop focusing on myself while trying to hold on to people who were never meant to stay, my dear friends? Let me ask you a simple question. How many times in life have you held on to someone thinking they were forever? Maybe a friend, a colleague, a partner, or even a family member. You invested your time, your energy, your emotions, and then one day they were gone. The pain was real, wasn't it? And in that moment, you felt abandoned, lost, maybe even betrayed. But here's the truth. That pain is not the end of your story. It is actually the beginning of something far more beautiful. You see, people are like visitors to a garden. Some come and bring joy, some come and bring lessons, some even bring storms. But gardens are meant to grow whether the visitors stay or leave. Similarly, your life is a garden, and self-growth, your character, your discipline, your wisdom, that is the soil and the roots. No matter who comes and goes, that foundation remains. It cannot be taken from you. Think about it, the knowledge you acquire, the habits you build, the compassion you cultivate, the strength you discover within yourself. These are permanent. You can lose friendships, relationships, recognition, even opportunities. But no one can steal the growth that comes from your effort, your introspection, your commitment to yourself. This is why I say focus on yourself. Focus on your inner world, because unlike people who come and go, your growth is permanent. It is yours forever. And here's the beauty of it. When you focus on yourself, you start to notice a shift. Painful departures stop feeling like a tragedy. Instead, they become gentle reminders. Invest more in yourself. Become the best version of you. Cultivate what no one can take away. And slowly, over time, you realize that the people who are meant to stay in your life will naturally align with your energy. And those who leave, they simply made space for someone who truly belongs. So my friends, never measure your worth by the presence or absence of others. Measure it by your growth, your progress, your resilience. Because when all is said and done, the people in your life are temporary, but the person you become by investing in yourself, that is eternal. Let me share something with you. How many of us spend our lives running after people, chasing their attention, chasing their approval, chasing their love, thinking that if we just try a little harder, if we just give a little more, they will finally stay. And sometimes we even lose ourselves in that chase. We forget our dreams, our peace, our purpose, all for someone who may not even be meant to walk with us for the long journey. My friends, life is not about chasing people. It is about becoming the person you are meant to be. Because when you chase, you are giving your power away. You are telling the universe, my happiness depends on someone else staying. And that, my dear friends, is a dangerous place to live. Here's a beautiful truth. What is meant for you will come to you naturally. You don't have to chase it. When you focus on yourself, your growth, your character, your joy, the right people are drawn to your energy. Think about it, a tree doesn't chase the sun. It grows and the sun reaches it. A river doesn't chase the ocean, it flows and it finds its way. Similarly, when you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, life brings the right people, opportunities, and experiences to your path. You don't need to beg, you don't need to plead, you just need to grow. And let me tell you another secret. The more you stop chasing, the more you protect your dignity. There is immense strength in not bending over backward for people who may not even deserve your effort. Every time someone leaves, it's not a rejection of you, it's just a gentle nudge from life saying, there is something better waiting for you. Focus on yourself first. And when you stop chasing, your peace begins to grow. Your clarity begins to shine. Your energy becomes magnetic. And suddenly, the people who truly belong in your life are no longer lost. They find you naturally. So, my dear friends, stop the chase. Stop measuring your worth by who stays and who goes. Instead, measure your worth by how much you invest in yourself, how much you grow, how much you nurture your mind, heart, and soul. The right people, the right moments, the right relationships, they will always gravitate toward a person who knows their own value. And those who leave, they were never meant to stay. They simply made space for the life and the people who are truly yours. Now let's talk about something so important, your peace. How often do we allow other people to disturb it? How often do we bend, compromise, and lose our calm just to win someone's approval or to avoid confrontation? My friends, listen carefully. Your peace is far more valuable than anyone's opinion, far more valuable than anyone's temporary presence in your life. When you start measuring your life by the standards of others, you give away your control, your joy, your serenity, and life becomes a constant struggle, a battle to please people who may not even understand or appreciate you. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you sacrificed your sleep, your happiness, your clarity of mind just to impress someone, or to avoid the pain of being rejected or misunderstood? And in the process, what did you lose? Your calm, your joy, your ability to think clearly. My friends, no person is worth that. No relationship, no job, no praise, no temporary moment of validation should ever cost you your inner peace. Peace is not something you earn from others. It is something you create within yourself. It is the quiet, steady flame inside that nothing can extinguish unless you allow it to. Here's the truth that changes everything. When you start protecting your peace, life becomes simpler. Conflicts that used to upset you no longer matter. Opinions that once shook your confidence now pass like a gentle breeze. Because peace, once it is cultivated, becomes your shield. And with this shield, you can face any situation with clarity, grace, and strength. You stop reacting impulsively. You stop seeking constant validation, and you start living life on your terms. And there's another beauty to this. When you prioritize your peace, you attract people who respect it, people who lift you up rather than drag you down, people who appreciate your calm, your presence, and your energy, and those who disturb it, those who create drama, negativity, or unnecessary tension, they naturally drift away. You don't have to push them out. Life simply balances itself. And suddenly, your world becomes lighter, more focused, more aligned with what truly matters, your growth, your happiness, your purpose. So, my dear friends, remember this. Never sacrifice your peace for anyone. Guard it, nurture it, and make it your priority. Because when your peace is intact, your life becomes a sanctuary. And from that sanctuary, you can love, give, and connect, not out of need or fear, but from abundance, clarity, and joy. No, my dear friends, let's talk about something many of us overlook: emotional hygiene. Just like we brush our teeth every day, wash our hands, take care of our physical body, our mind and heart also need cleansing. Emotional hygiene is about recognizing the thoughts, feelings, and relationships that weigh us down and letting them go. It's about understanding that carrying anger, resentment, or toxicity in your heart is like drinking poison. and expecting the other person to suffer. The truth is, holding on to negativity only harms you. It clouds your mind, disrupts your peace, and drains your energy. Think about it. How often do we replay painful memories over and over, keeping ourselves trapped in a cycle of bitterness? Or how often do we try to control people, holding grudges, or expecting them to behave differently, only to feel disappointed again and again? My friends, this is emotional clutter, and just like a messy room, it blocks light, it blocks clarity, it blocks growth. That's why emotional hygiene is so important. It's the practice of letting go, forgiving, releasing, and creating space for love, joy, and peace. And here's something beautiful to realize: letting go doesn't mean forgetting or accepting wrongs. It means reclaiming your power. It means refusing to allow someone else's actions to dictate your inner state. Every time you let go of resentment, you strengthen your mind and heart. Every time you release the need to control outcomes, you create space for growth. And every time you choose peace over drama, you become more aligned with your true self. Let me give you an example. Imagine a river. If it tries to cling to every rock, every fallen tree, it will stagnate and flood. But if it flows freely, moving around obstacles, it nourishes everything in its path. It becomes stronger, deeper, and more beautiful. Your mind and heart are like that river. When you let go of toxic attachments and negative thoughts, your life flows naturally. You start attracting positivity, clarity, and the right people. You start experiencing life with freshness, lightness, and joy. So, my friends, practice emotional hygiene daily. Reflect on your thoughts, cleanse your heart from grudges, release the emotional clutter, and focus on nurturing what truly matters: your growth, your peace, and your purpose. Because when you take care of your emotional world, life becomes lighter, relationships become healthier, and your journey becomes infinitely more beautiful. Now, my dear friends, let's talk about a truth that often feels painful in the moment, but is deeply liberating in the long run. Rejections redirect you toward your purpose. You see, so many of us have been hurt, disappointed, or turned away at some point in life. Maybe it was a relationship that didn't work out, a friendship that faded, a job opportunity that slipped through your fingers. And in those moments, the first feeling is always pain, isn't it? We ask ourselves, why me? Why now? What did I do wrong? But let me tell you a secret. These departures are not punishments. They are gentle nudges from life guiding you towards something greater. Think about it. Every rejection, every person who leaves, every door that closes is life's way of redirecting you. It's as if the universe is saying, you're not meant to go that way. There is a better path waiting for you. And the more we resist, the more we cling to what is gone, the more we miss the opportunities that are quietly waiting around the corner. Pain, when embraced, becomes a teacher, and rejections, when understood, become signposts pointing you toward your true path. Let me tell you a story. Imagine a young man who applied for his dream job. He was excited, confident, and prepared, but he didn't get it. For weeks he was devastated, feeling worthless, thinking he had failed. And then, by chance, he stumbled upon another opportunity, a job he hadn't considered, but it turned out to be the perfect fit. Not only did it align with his skills, but it opened doors he never imagined. That rejection, which at first seemed like the end of the world, had actually redirected him to something far greater. Life works this way, my friends. Rejections are not the end, they are gentle course corrections. And here's the most important part. When you internalize this, you stop fearing loss, disappointment, or abandonment, you start trusting life. You start realizing that no departure is a personal failure, no goodbye is a punishment. Instead, every ending becomes an invitation to grow, to rise, and to step closer to your purpose. When you embrace this truth, you begin to live fearlessly. You no longer cling desperately to people or situations. You focus on yourself, your growth, your passions, and the right people, the right opportunities, the right blessings naturally gravitate toward you. So, my dear friends, remember this: rejections are redirections. People leaving your life, doors closing, plans falling apart. These are not signs that you are inadequate. They are life's way of nudging you toward the extraordinary, toward the path you are truly meant to walk. Trust it, embrace it, and let every no in life be a stepping stone toward your greatest eyes. Now, my dear friends, let's talk about something that can completely transform the way you live: the power of habits over emotions. How often do we allow our feelings to dictate our actions? One day we feel motivated and we think, I'll work on myself, I'll chase my goals, I'll be productive. The next day we feel lazy, tired, or discouraged, and we tell ourselves, I'll start tomorrow, and so our lives become a roller coaster of emotions, highs and lows, and very little progress. My friends, emotions are like the weather, unpredictable, fleeting, and ever changing. But habits are like the foundations of a house, strong, steady, and lasting. They shape your life, even when you don't feel like it. Think about it: a single small habit, repeated consistently over time, has the power to transform your entire life. Brushing your teeth every day, drinking water, exercising, reading, meditating, reflecting. These small actions may seem insignificant in the moment, but they compound, building the life you desire. And the beauty is that habits don't rely on motivation. You don't have to feel inspired every day to brush your teeth or tie your shoes. Similarly, when you build powerful habits for your mind, your heart, and your soul, you start creating momentum that no temporary emotion can stop. Let me share a story. There was a young student who struggled to focus. Some days he was motivated, some days he wasn't. But when he decided to commit to just 30 minutes of study every day, regardless of how he felt, his life began to change. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and suddenly, he had mastered subjects that once felt impossible. His transformation didn't come from bursts of emotion or motivation. It came from steady, consistent habits. My friends, this is the power of focusing on what you control: your actions, your routines, your daily discipline. And here's the deeper lesson: life will always bring challenges, disappointments, and distractions. People will come and go. Situations will change. Feelings will fluctuate. But habits are your anchor. They keep you steady when the world around you feels turbulent. They ensure that your growth doesn't depend on the fleeting highs of inspiration or the absence of temporary lows. Every habit you nurture, no matter how small, is a building block of your future self. So, my dear friends, stop letting emotions control your destiny. Focus on what you can build day by day, quietly, patiently. Cultivate habits that nourish your mind, your heart, and your spirit. Because in the end, emotions will pass, people leave, circumstances will change, but the person you become through your habits, that is permanent, that is unshakable, and that is the true secret to a life of purpose, peace, and joy. Now, my dear friends, let's speak about something that touches the very core of our self: worth. Understanding that your value does not decrease when someone leaves your life. How often do we feel incomplete, lost, or rejected the moment a person walks away. We convince ourselves that their departure is a reflection of our inadequacy, as if our worth was somehow tied to their presence. And in that moment, we forget one simple, powerful truth. Your value is intrinsic. It is not measured by who stays and who goes, by who approves or disapproves, by who notices or ignores you. Your value is constant, permanent, and untouchable. Think about it, the people who leave your life are not taking away your essence. They are merely making space for what is truly aligned with your path. Imagine a beautiful garden. If a few flowers wither or are plucked away, does the beauty of the garden vanish? No. The soil remains fertile. The sun continues to shine, and new blossoms appear, often more vibrant than before. Your life works the same way. When someone leaves, it is not a subtraction of your worth. It is a gentle reminder from life that something better, something more suitable, is ready to bloom in your journey. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man who had a friend he cherished deeply. One day, unexpectedly, that friend moved away. He felt heartbroken, thinking his world had crumbled. But over time, he focused on himself, his growth, his values, his purpose. And in that process, he met others who shared his vision, uplifted him, and supported him in ways he never imagined. That initial loss didn't decrease his value, it simply redirected him toward relationships and experiences that resonated with his true self. Life often works this way, my friends. Departures are redirections, not devaluations. And here's the deeper lesson. Stop seeking validation from people whose presence is temporary. Stop defining your worth by someone else's choices or opinions. True self-worth comes from knowing who you are, embracing your strengths, acknowledging your weaknesses, and committing to your growth. When you internalize this, something magical happens. Pain from departures no longer breaks you. Instead, it strengthens you. Rejections, failures, and goodbyes become teachers, shaping you into someone more resilient, compassionate, and self-aware. So, my dear friends, remember this. The exit of someone from your life is not a statement about your inadequacy. Your value is unchanging. Your light continues to shine, and the right people, the ones who truly belong, will naturally gravitate toward your energy. Focus on yourself, nurture your worth, and let life unfold. Because the moment you realize that your value is independent of anyone else, you will walk through life with confidence, peace, and a freedom that is unshakable. Now, my dear friends, let's talk about something that many of us misunderstand: the power and beauty of spending time alone. So often, we confuse solitude with loneliness. We think that being alone means being abandoned, forgotten, or incomplete. And because of that, we constantly seek the company of others, trying to fill an emptiness that isn't truly external. But the truth is this: solitude is not a punishment. Solitude is a gift. It is an opportunity to reconnect with yourself, to listen to your own heart, and to understand who you truly are. Think about it for a moment. How often do we go through life surrounded by people, yet still feel empty? How often do we speak, but never really hear our own thoughts? How often do we follow the expectations of others, but forget our own desires and dreams? My friends, when you spend time alone, you finally stop running from yourself. You face your fears, your hopes, your dreams. You confront your weaknesses and embrace your strengths. Solitude allows you to recharge, to reflect, and to grow. It is in these quiet moments that you discover your true power, your true potential, and your true peace. Let me share a story. There was a young woman who always feared being alone. She constantly sought validation from friends, from social media, from colleagues. But one day life forced her into solitude. At first, she was terrified. The silence felt deafening. But slowly, she began to notice things she had never seen before: the strength in her own voice, the depth of her own thoughts, the richness of her imagination. She started journaling, reflecting, meditating. And over time, she realized something beautiful. She was never truly alone. The one person she could always rely on, the one person who would never leave her, was herself. That solitude became her sanctuary, her teacher, her source of wisdom. And here's the truth, my friends: when you embrace being alone, you stop depending on others for your happiness. You stop measuring your worth by who is with you and who isn't. You cultivate self reliance, self respect, and self love. Solitude gives you clarity: clarity about your goals, your values, your path. It allows you to hear your own inner voice, which is far wiser than the noise of the world around you. It is in this space of reflection and connection with yourself that true growth happens. So, my dear friends, don't fear being alone. Cherish it. Spend time with yourself. Talk to yourself. Reflect, meditate, dream, and plan. Because the more comfortable you become in your own company, the stronger, wiser, and more grounded you become. And here's the beautiful part: when you are whole within yourself, the right people will naturally come into your life. They will complement your peace, not complete it. And those who disturb it, they will naturally drift away, leaving you with the serenity, clarity, and joy that only self-connection can provide. Now, my dear friends, let us reflect on something truly transformative: becoming the person you want to attract. How often do we look around and wonder, why don't I have the kind of friends I want? Why don't I meet the right partner? Why don't the right opportunities come my way? And in our search, we often forget the most important step. Transformation begins within. You see, my friends, life is a mirror. What you radiate, you attract. What you nurture inside yourself, you draw to your outer world. Think about it: if you are constantly critical, negative, and doubtful, the world will respond in kind. But if you cultivate kindness, positivity, patience, and integrity, those very qualities will begin to show up in the people and circumstances around you. This is not a mere philosophy, it is a law of life. Becoming the person you want to attract is about aligning your inner world with your desires, about refining your thoughts, emotions, and actions until they reflect the life you truly wish to live. It's about growing into the highest version of yourself so that the right people, the right opportunities, and the right experiences are naturally drawn to you. Let me share a story. There was a young man who constantly complained about the negativity of people around him. He felt stuck, unappreciated, and frustrated. One day, he was advised to work on himself first, to develop patience, understanding, and empathy. Reluctantly, he began to practice these qualities, even when he didn't feel like it. Over time, something miraculous happened. He noticed a change. People around him began to mirror the same patience and understanding. The energy he had cultivated within himself had begun to attract people and experiences that resonated with his new vibration. My friends, this is the law of attraction in action, not in a mystical sense, but in a very practical, psychological, and spiritual sense. And here's the deeper truth: when you focus on becoming the person you want to attract, you stop wasting energy on trying to change others. You stop clinging to relationships that don't serve you. You stop chasing fleeting validation. Instead, you grow in wisdom, discipline, and self-respect. And in that growth, life begins to reward you. You attract friendships that are genuine, partnerships that are nurturing, and opportunities that are aligned with your purpose. You no longer wait for the world to give you what you deserve. You become the person who naturally invites it into your life. So, my dear friends, invest in yourself. Cultivate the qualities you admire. Develop compassion, integrity, courage, and joy. Work on your mind, your heart, and your spirit. Because when you become the person you aspire to be, the universe, life, and the right people will follow naturally. And the beauty of this process is that you no longer depend on anyone else for your happiness or validation. You become whole, radiant, and magnetic, and in that magnetism, life aligns perfectly with your purpose and vision. And now, my dear friends, let's speak about a truth that is perhaps the most liberating of all. Life becomes beautiful when you stop trying to control others. How often do we exhaust ourselves trying to influence, manipulate, or change people around us? We spend endless hours worrying about what someone else will do, what they will say, or how they might react. And in that process, we lose the most important thing, our own peace, our own clarity, and our own joy. The truth is, we cannot control anyone but ourselves. No amount of persuasion, pleading, or effort can make someone stay if their journey lies elsewhere. And when we accept this, a deep freedom washes over us. Think about it. Have you ever tried to control someone and felt the frustration when things didn't go your way? Or tried to hold on to a relationship only to feel helpless as it slipped away? That pain comes not from the other person, but from the illusion that you can control what is not yours to control. Life is a flow, my friends. People, events, and circumstances come and go. Your role is not to force the river to flow in a certain direction, but to navigate it with grace, awareness, and courage. Your focus should be on what you can shape, your thoughts, your actions, your character, not on trying to bend others to your will. Let me share a story. There was a young woman who constantly tried to manage everyone around her. Her family, her friends, her colleagues. She was always stressed, frustrated, and exhausted. One day, she realized that her energy was being drained by things she could not control. She decided to shift her focus from controlling others to nurturing herself. She invested time in her growth, her passions, her peace. Slowly, she noticed a transformation. People began to respect her boundaries. Her relationships became healthier, and her life felt lighter and more joyful. She learned a profound truth. The moment you stop trying to control others, you reclaim your power. And here's the deeper wisdom. My friends, when you stop controlling others, you stop resisting life. You begin to flow with it, to trust it, to embrace it. You learn that every person in your life is on their own journey, and your job is not to force them to follow yours. You focus on your growth, your peace, and your purpose. And in that focus, life becomes simple, life becomes joyful, and life becomes beautiful. You attract relationships and experiences that are aligned with your values, and you let go of those that drain your energy or hinder your growth. And slowly, almost magically, you realize that the less you try to control others, the more harmonious and abundant your life becomes. So, my dear friends, remember this: people come and go, situations change, life unfolds in ways we cannot predict, but your inner world, your character, your discipline, your peace, that is yours to nurture, protect, and grow. Stop trying to control the uncontrollable. Focus on yourself. Build your inner strength. Guard your peace, and let life flow. Because the moment you do, you will discover a freedom and a joy that no one can take away, a serenity that no situation can disturb, and a beauty in life that is deeper, truer, and everlasting